Standing at my mother's funeral should have been the worst day of my life, but the real horror was the smirk on my brother William's face. We had grown up inseparable, but ever since he took over Mom's care, he had blocked every call and visit. Yesterday, he claimed she died of a stroke, yet the closed casket before me didn't smell like lilies or decay. It smelled like fresh paint, and I knew exactly why William wouldn't let anyone open it.
I'm James, the eldest, and for 40 years, I was the protector of this family. But 3 years ago, I let my guard down. I allowed William to take Mom into his home, believing he finally wanted to step up. Instead, he turned her life into a prison. He painted a picture of a woman losing her mind to aggressive dementia, blocking my calls and visits under the guise of medical necessity. I sent money, he sent excuses. Now he stands by a mahogany box, dabbing dry eyes, while his lawyer whispers about the will. He wants a quick cremation to seal the deal on the estate, erasing any evidence of what really happened in the house. He thinks he's directed a masterpiece, but I wasn't going to let my mother burn without seeing her face one last time.
It started innocently enough. 2 years ago, William came to me with tears in his eyes, claiming he wanted to turn his life around. He was broke, sleeping on a friend's couch, and Mom was struggling with her hip. It seemed like the perfect solution. I would handle the finances, and William would move into the family estate to handle the day-to-day care. I handed him the keys and signed a limited power of attorney, thinking I was saving our family. I was actually handing him the weapon he would use to destroy us. For the first 6 months, the updates were glowing. Mom was happy, the garden was blooming. But then the narrative shifted. William started reporting episodes. He claimed Mom was becoming aggressive, forgetting names, and wandering off at night. Whenever I called, she was always sleeping or having a bad day. If I tried to visit, William would meet me at the driveway, looking exhausted, begging me not to upset her. "She doesn't remember you, James," he'd say, his voice thick with fake sorrow. "It only scares her when you come." Guilt is a powerful blinder. I stayed away because I thought I was protecting her. But the seeds of doubt were planted 3 months ago when I noticed the withdrawals. Small amounts at first, then thousands, labeled as home repairs and specialist fees. I asked for receipts. William gave me anger. He accused me of caring more about the inheritance than Mom's comfort. The breaking point came last week. I drove over unannounced, ignoring William's texts to stay away. I didn't go to the door. I walked around the perimeter. The garden, the one he said she loved tending, was dead. The windows were covered with heavy black plastic from the inside. It didn't look like a home anymore. It looked like a holding cell. I called her primary physician the next morning, only to learn she hadn't been seen in a year. William had switched her to a private doctor I'd never heard of. That's when I knew the dementia wasn't the diagnosis. It was the alibi.
I tracked down the specialist, Dr. Thorne. His office wasn't in a medical complex, it was a basement unit in a strip mall next to a vape shop. A quick background check revealed the truth. His medical license had been revoked 5 years ago for overprescribing opioids. This wasn't healthcare, it was a chemical lobotomy. I took the dossier to the police, desperate for a wellness check, but the sergeant behind the desk barely looked up. "It's a civil matter, son. Unless you have proof of physical harm, we can't breach the property based on a hunch about a doctor."
William must have sensed the walls closing in. He didn't wait for me to file for emergency guardianship. 2 days after my failed police report, my phone rang at 3 a.m. William's voice was a practiced whisper, thick with manufactured grief. "She's gone, James. Mom passed in her sleep." The world tilted. For a moment, the shock paralyzed me. I drove to the estate doing 90, my vision blurred by tears and rage. But when I arrived, the driveway was empty. No ambulance, no coroner, just William, standing on the porch with a glass of scotch, blocking the front door with his body. "Where is she?" I screamed, moving to shove past him. "The funeral home took her an hour ago," he said, smooth as oil. "I didn't want you to see her like that. The stroke twisted her face, James. It was horrific." He shoved a pamphlet into my chest. It was for a crematorium 3 towns over. "Service is tomorrow. closed casket, immediate incineration afterwards. It's what she wanted. She wanted to be buried next to Dad. I lunged at him, but he stepped back, holding up a piece of paper. A directive, signed with a shaky scrawl that looked nothing like Mom's elegant cursive. "Get off my property," William said, his sorrow vanishing into a cold sneer. "Or I call the cops for trespassing. You lost your chance to say goodbye when you stopped paying the bills." I retreated, but I didn't go home. I parked down the street and watched the house. The crematorium he listed was a budget operation known for cutting corners. I called them at dawn, pretending to be an insurance adjuster. They had no record of a Catherine Miller being admitted. That was the crack in the glass. If the body wasn't there, and it wasn't at the county morgue, William was rushing a funeral for a ghost. I waited until William left for his lawyer's office to finalize the estate paperwork. I hopped the back fence, the one we used to sneak out of as teenagers. The back door was reinforced with a new deadbolt, but the cellar grate was loose. I crawled into the darkness of the house I grew up in. It smelled of bleach and stale food. I moved through the silence, expecting to find a corpse hidden in the basement. I checked the master bedroom. Empty. I checked the guest room. Empty. Then I heard it, a rhythmic thumping from the attic. I climbed the narrow stairs, my heart hammering against my ribs. The attic door was padlocked from the outside. I smashed the hasp with a heavy brass lamp from the hallway. Inside, sitting on a bare mattress, surrounded by empty pill bottles, was my mother. She wasn't dead. She wasn't even sleeping. She looked up at me, her eyes sharp and clear, devoid of the dementia William had claimed she had. She put a finger to her lips before I could shout. "He thinks I'm sedated," she whispered, her voice raspy but steady. "He's burying a box of bricks, James." I fell to my knees, grabbing her hand. It was warm. "We have to go, now." "No," she said, squeezing my hand with surprising strength. "If we leave now, he claims I'm incompetent and fights us in court for years. He needs to sign the papers. He needs to commit the fraud publicly." She pulled a small notebook from under her pillow. It was a log. Dates, times, pills she pretended to swallow but spit out. Recordings of his phone calls she'd overheard. She had been playing the long game, waiting for me to break in. "Tomorrow is the funeral," I said, realizing the magnitude of his gamble. "Tomorrow," she replied, a cold fire in her eyes. "We go to church."
The chapel smelled of stale carpet and the cheap, cloying potpourri William had used to mask the scent of his own corruption. I walked in 3 minutes late. The room was sparsely populated, just William, his lawyer, a notary, and 2 confused cousins William had summoned to provide a veneer of family unity. William stood at the lectern, a picture of manufactured grief. He paused when he saw me enter, his jaw tightening, but he didn't stop. He was too close to the finish line. "Mother was a private woman," William droned, his voice trembling with a rehearsed vibrato that made my stomach turn.
"She didn't want a spectacle. She feared the decay of her mind more than death itself. That is why, per her wishes, we are proceeding immediately to the cremation after I sign the final death certificate and estate transfer." He gestured to the lawyer, who held a clipboard containing the deed to the house and the liquidation order for her assets. This was the trap. Kate had been adamant. He has to sign. He has to commit the crime on public record. I waited until the pen touched the paper. I waited until the scratch of ink sealed his fate. "Don't get too comfortable with that pen, Will," I said, my voice echoing off the hollow walls. William looked up, sneering. "James, I told you, this is a private service." He looked at the cousins, feigning pity. "He's unstable. Grief makes people do crazy things. Please ignore him." "Grief isn't what brought me here," I said, walking down the center aisle. My steps were heavy, deliberate. "Curiosity did. I just want to know how you managed to fit Mom into that box." "She's frail," William hissed, stepping off the podium to block my path to the mahogany casket. "The disease ate her away. You'd know that if you ever visited." "I visited yesterday," I said, stopping inches from him.
The house was empty, but the attic was very interesting. William's face drained of color. The mask of the grieving son cracked, revealing the panicked animal underneath. "I don't know what you're talking about. Officer?" He waved at the uniformed man standing near the back entrance, a security guard he'd hired to keep me out.
"It's not a security guard, Will," I said. "That's Detective Miller, and he's not here for me." "Open the box," I commanded. "It's sealed for health reasons," William shrieked, backing up against the casket, spreading his arms wide. "You are desecrating her memory. She's in there." I didn't wait for permission. I shoved him aside, the force sending him stumbling into a flower arrangement. I grabbed the heavy brass latch and threw the lid open. A collective gasp rippled through the room. There was no body, no silk lining, just 4 heavy bags of concrete mix and a stack of old newspapers to distribute the weight. "Where is she?" the lawyer stammered, dropping the clipboard. The papers scattered across the floor, evidence of a felony in black and white.
"Right here," a voice rang out from the vestry doors. The heavy oak doors swung open. Kate walked in. She wasn't in a wheelchair. She wasn't mumbling. She was dressed in her Sunday best, leaning on a cane, but walking under her own power. Her eyes were sharp, burning with a mother's betrayed fury. William looked from the box of rocks to the woman he thought he'd buried. He started shaking, his mouth opening and closing like a landed fish. "Mom? I thought, the doctor said." "The doctor you paid in cash to keep me drugged?" Kate asked, her voice cutting through the room like a scalpel. She stopped in front of the altar, looking down at her youngest son. "I may be old, William, but I am not stupid, and I am certainly not dead."
"I was protecting you," William cried out, the lie desperate and thin. He reached for her, but she recoiled. "James was stealing your money. I had to hide you. I did this for us." "I have the audio logs, William," she said, pulling the small black notebook from her purse. "Every threat, every forgery, every time you laughed on the phone to your friends about how long I was taking to die so you could sell the house." The detective stepped forward, the metallic click of handcuffs snapping shut the only sound in the room. The lawyer was already backing away, hands raised, frantically distancing himself from the blast radius. "William Miller," the detective said, spinning my brother around and slamming him against the casket full of rocks. "You are under arrest for fraud, elder abuse, and attempted grand larceny." William thrashed, his face pressed against the mahogany, screaming at me, "You did this!"
"You poisoned her against me." "You did this to yourself," I said, watching the metal cuffs lock around his wrists. "You dug a grave, Will. You just forgot to check if she was in it."
The sirens faded, leaving a silence heavier than the concrete in that casket. Kate didn't cheer. She didn't smile. She collapsed onto the front pew, staring at the altar, suddenly looking every minute of her 80 years. Sending your own child to prison isn't a victory, it's an amputation. It was necessary to save the patient, but the phantom pain would last forever. I drove her back to the estate in silence. It wasn't a home anymore, it was a crime scene. The police had already swept through, tagging the locks on the attic door and seizing William's laptop. The first thing I did was rip the black plastic off the windows. The sunlight hit the dust motes dancing in the air, illuminating the neglect William had hidden in the dark. The house smelled of stale takeout and betrayal.
The legal fallout was swift and brutal. William's lawyer flipped immediately to save his own license, handing over emails that detailed the entire scheme. Dr. Thorne was picked up at a motel 2 counties over, trying to flee with a suitcase full of cash. The dementia diagnosis was officially expunged from her medical records. Mom was legally sane again, but the trust she had in the world was shattered. A month later, I found Kate in the garden. She was on her knees, digging up the dead rose bushes William had let wither. Her hands were covered in dirt, shaking slightly, but she refused my help. She needed to do this. She needed to clear the rot herself.
"He called collect yesterday," she said, tossing a dead root onto a pile of dry brush. "He wanted me to mortgage the house for his bail. He said I owed him for the 2 years he spent caring for me." I felt the rage spike, hot and sharp, but she reached out and patted my hand. Her grip was firm. "I told him the bank doesn't lend money to ghosts," she said, her voice devoid of pity. We burned the pile of dead brush as the sun went down. I watched the smoke rise, realizing that the brother I grew up with had died years ago, long before that sham funeral. William had staged a death to steal a life, but in the end, he was the only one who got buried.